The desert is a place of endless silence, where the wind shapes the land and secrets stay buried beneath the sand. But sometimes, the desert speaks, and when it does, it tells of things no one can explain. This is the story of the Walker family, a seemingly ordinary family who set out for a weekend camping trip, a trip meant to bring them closer, a trip that would end in terror, tragedy, and unanswered questions that haunt the desert to this day. Our tale begins in the spring of 1994. The Walkers, David, a cheerful insurance salesman, Melissa, his loving wife and schoolteacher, Casey, their adventurous 10-year-old daughter, and Ben, their moody teenage son, decided to escape the stress of suburban life and reconnect under the stars. The destination, the remote sands of the Sagebrush Flats, a desolate stretch of desert in southern Nevada. It was supposed to be fun, and at first it was. They set up camp at the base of a rocky outcrop, miles from the nearest town. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and blood red. David cracked open a beer. Melissa unpacked sandwiches. Ben sulked in his chair, glued to his Game Boy. And Casey, she ran wild, chasing lizards, digging in the sand and laughing louder than the wind. That first night, the family sat around the campfire, roasting marshmallows and sharing ghost stories. They laughed, they sang. For the first time in a long while, it felt like nothing could touch them. But as the desert night deepened, something changed. It began with a strange silence. The usual sounds of the desert, the chirp of crickets, the howl of distant coyotes, faded into nothing. The air felt heavy. The fire flickered, as if choked by an unseen hand, and then they saw it. A light, a brilliant white orb, hovering just above the horizon. At first, David thought it was a plane, but planes don't move like that. The light zigzagged through the sky, faster than anything man-made, before shooting straight up into the heavens and vanishing. The family sat frozen. The desert was dark again, and the coyotes howled once more. They tried to shake it off, just a trick of the light, they told themselves, just the desert playing games, but deep down, each of them felt it, something wasn't right. The next day was hotter than expected. The sun beat down mercilessly, and the walkers struggled to stay cool beneath their makeshift shade. Casey begged to explore, but Melissa insisted she stay close. They didn't want to get lost, not out here. That afternoon, while Ben and David tried to fix the camp stove, Casey wandered toward the rocks, chasing a butterfly, and that's when she saw it. A glowing object, small, metallic, and pulsing with soft blue light. It rested half buried in the sand, maybe 50 yards from the campsite. Casey stared, transfixed. The object hummed gently, almost invitingly. She reached out, and it pulsed brighter, as if alive. Casey, her mother's voice shattered the moment. Casey blinked and turned back toward camp. When she looked again, the object was gone. Only smooth, undisturbed sand remained. That night the light returned, brighter, closer. Melissa woke to find the tent bathed in an unearthly glow. David was already outside, shielding his eyes, staring at the source. Above their campsite hovered not one, but 3 glowing orbs moving in perfect formation. They emitted no sound, no heat, only light, cold and piercing. The family huddled together, watching in disbelief as the orbs circled the camp, then shot off into the night. The next morning, Melissa decided enough was enough. They needed to leave, but David, ever the skeptic, laughed it off. "We're in UFO country," he said. "Probably Air Force stuff. Area 51's not that far." But as they packed up, Melissa noticed something odd. Tracks, not their own, deep impressions in the sand circling their camp. Human-like footprints, but impossibly large and spaced far apart, as if whatever made them took enormous strides. And there were no incoming tracks, only the circle, and the outgoing path disappearing into the dunes. Her unease grew as the sun climbed higher. Later that afternoon, Melissa went to fetch water from the cooler at the edge of camp. That's when she saw it, a shape slumped behind a boulder. Curious, she stepped closer and froze. A man's body, half covered in sand, his skin pale, his mouth twisted in terror. His clothes were torn and scorched as if by fire, and on his chest, burned into the flesh, was a symbol, a perfect circle with 3 lines radiating outward. She screamed. David came running, followed by the kids. David stared at the body, then at the sky, as if hoping for an answer. They didn't touch it, didn't go near it again. Instead, they packed in silence, their joy drowned by dread. But leaving wasn't so simple. As they drove, the world seemed to change. The familiar landmarks, the rock formations, the dry creek beds all seemed wrong, as if the desert had shifted. The road disappeared beneath their tires, swallowed by sand. The compass spun uselessly, and the sun, burning high above, refused to move, hanging frozen at its peak. Hours passed, or was it minutes? Time felt broken. The radio offered only static. The desert stretched forever. Then in the distance they saw it, a building. a gas station weathered by sun and sand. Relief flooded over them, but as they approached, that relief turned to confusion. The station was abandoned, rusted pumps, broken windows, and a sign swinging in the breeze, "Last Chance Gas Closed Forever." Inside, dust coated everything. Old newspapers, yellowed and crumbling, dated 1963. The place had been dead for decades, and yet a fresh cigarette smoldered in an ashtray on the counter. Ben swore he saw a figure move in the back room, but when David investigated, the room was empty, except for a single, small shoe on the floor, a child's shoe, Casey's size. Shaken, they fled the station, determined to find the highway. The sun began to set at last, casting long shadows over the sand, and in those shadows things moved, figures tall, thin, wrong, watching, waiting. The headlights flickered, the engine sputtered, the car died. Darkness swallowed them. In the distance, the lights returned, closer, brighter, surrounding them. Melissa held Casey close. David gripped the steering wheel. Ben whispered a prayer. The lights merged into one, a blinding sphere that filled the world, and then nothing. They were found 3 days later by a search party. The car sat at the edge of the highway, doors open, keys still in the ignition, but the walkers were gone. No footprints, no sign of struggle, no bodies. The only clue, a perfect circle burned into the sand beside the vehicle, with 3 lines radiating outward. The search went on for weeks, planes, drones, volunteers, but the desert kept its secret. The walkers were never seen again. To this day, travelers through sagebrush flats report strange lights in the sky. Some claim to hear voices on the wind, a woman's scream, a child's laughter, a man calling for help. And those who dare camp there tell of waking to find massive footprints circling their tents and symbols etched in the sand. Was it a crime, the work of a madman hiding in the desert, a predator unknown to science? Or did the walkers stumble into something far beyond our understanding, a place where the rules of reality no longer apply? No one knows. The desert keeps its secrets. Thank you for watching Echoes of Evil. Like, comment, and subscribe for more terrifying mysteries that will haunt your nights. And tell us, what do you think really happened to the walkers that night in the desert?